Hi, Gonzalo. Thanks for being on our podcast.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much. A true honor to be here.
Is it Gonzalo or Gonzalo?
Well, it's Gonzalo, very common name in the Spanish-speaking world.
Right.
A lot of people call me González, like Speedy González. Gonzalo is actually a last name in Spanish. So it's Gonzalez, Gonzalo.
Do you know any Gonzalo Gonzalez?
Actually, yeah, I know a Gonzalo González and I know a Fernando Fernandez too.
Nice. That's awesome.
Those are great names. Well, let's talk about porn. I mean, let's just get right into it.
Absolutely.
So you just tell us your story and your involvement with porn now and how that started and then what it looks like today.
Absolutely. Well, this is the topic. Well, first of all, I would never, ever would think or would predict that I was going to be working as a man helping other men to heal from porn addiction. But
that wasn't your dream when you were a child?
Oh, for sure. No, I was a typical kid that would always say doctor or something like that.
Right.
But I would say that I want to be a doctor, and I am a healer. I'm healing.
You are a doctor of sorts.
I'm assisting men on their path of healing from this addiction. So when you ask me about my story, it's pretty much the story of any kid of the 80s, 1991, I found a treasure in my parents' room, a Playboy magazine, right? Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, when I opened that, I see the greatest thing in the universe, a naked female body, and I couldn't believe. I was 11 years old, and that magazine became a treasure to me, like the most precious thing that I could ever own. So obviously I stole it, I guess, from my dad. And I showed that to my two older brothers. And they said, yeah, it's okay. They looked at that, but it was something okay. But for me, it had this like super strong force that drew me towards that. And one thing led to another one, First it was a Playboy magazine for maybe like, a year. And then I started funding other magazines and explicit sex, porn magazines, the Betamax, the VHS, all the VCR things, and then the DVD, until the perfect storm came to the Western world, which was in the mid 2000s when the high-speed internet, literally pavimented the world, right? On the other hand, the technology gadgets that could support more video memory, and at the same time, the explosion of unlimited porn on the internet, on the tube sites. And here I am when I was 32 years old. So we're talking about 21 years forward from that kid, fully addicted to porn, and completely losing my willpower. And at a moment where I really had to humble myself and really ask for help. And since my nature is, the nature of a researcher, I started researching, and I just was able to see, like a little glimpse of a major, major, major problem that humanity is facing right now.
So tell me about how, like, what defines addiction? Do you know what I mean? So what was that like for you? And how did it affect any relationships that you may have had during that time?
It's actually a great question. There is nothing written on stone when it comes to that, but there is a pattern in every addict that is, it starts interfering not only in your relationships, but in every area of your life. And at the same time, it makes you lose your willpower. So it's basically, you need that. But the problem with addiction is that it interferes and actually creates an atrophy on the reward system in your brain. So the production of dopamine, which is the hormone that gives you motivation and reward, you get that completely messed up. And basically you are training your brain to get a reward only from that, from the object of your desire, from your drug of choice, and everything else, you become kind of like numb to everything else in life. So, and obviously there are more, like many scientific papers that prove that, right? I actually quote those on my book. But just to explain this in plain English, at the moment when you are not able to control your own will, there is a problem right there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So for a listener who thinks, God, maybe I'm addicted to porn, what things should they be looking for?
Well, I actually put, by the end of the second chapter of my book, Conquering Porn Addiction, I actually put a questionnaire of the things that happen to you. Like, for example, giving you real life examples is, you are thinking a lot about that when you are not doing it. And then all of a sudden, when you are building up to the moment of actually acting out on the addiction, you start having a body feeling that is not compared to anything. And not only that, like you start with risky behaviors. For example, I mostly work with men, but it can be with everybody. Risky behaviors like watching porn at work, risking your job, or obviously you can even go down the rabbit hole and really go for like stuff that are dangerous or illegal. That I've seen that. And in an occasion I had to refuse working with someone because this person told me that was actually was trying to find illegal porn. So there is like a whole spectrum in this line. There is like a whole spectrum of things. But basically, one thing that is like almost in every case is men that are addicted to porn, two things start happening with them. They start having physiological problems, especially related to like the functioning of their sexual activities, related to erection, related to premature ejaculation, many other stuff. And another thing is that it creates an impossibility of connecting emotionally with another human being.
Yep.
Many other stuff, like literally there are psychological effects, physiological effects, emotional effects. And the problem right now is that most of the people don't know about that. But I'm sure that since this is such a big problem, I'm sure within the next 10 to 15 years, every single Ministry of Health, Secretary of Health in the world will be taking some kind of measurement to help their population with that.
Wow, that's a big statement. I mean, we watch porn occasionally, and we know people, but we don't. I wouldn't say I've ever. I mean, we don't do it often, and I don't know. Do you think it's dangerous to watch porn for anybody, or do you think that it's okay sometimes?
Okay, so that's a great question, and as a matter of fact, I get that question a lot. Like, look, everything that you do consciously, everything that you do with your absolute presence, is something that you are choosing. You are using your willpower, and you are choosing to do it. And whatever reason you have for that, that's amazing. But the thing is, right now, like most of that's not the case with the largest majority, especially of men that are watching porn. I have no moral flesh on this story. So whatever other people think is good or bad for them is not my problem, it's not my business, you know. And as a matter of fact, I have nothing, for the sake of a better word, you know, personal against porn. The thing is, it is the porn that is right now on the internet, it is dangerous. And that's actually, as a matter of fact, like, this is not something that I'm creating. There are 16 states in the United States, including the state where I live, the state of Florida. There are 16 states that have declared porn a public health issue. 16 states.
Probably
And
Utah's one of them, I would imagine.
yeah, yeah. But I have, so I don't want to proselytize any type of doctrine when it comes to this, you know, like what an adult does with his or her life is their own business. But what I'm doing is helping the men that are deep on this addiction and actually creating awareness of the dangers of this.
Sure.
That's awesome.
A lot of it is just not reality too. I mean,
none. So we're very intentional about the porn that we watch, by the way. Like,
it's actually really hard to find.
It's pretty hard to find any porn that actually does anything for me, because I'm like, oh, this is so fake. It looks so stupid. That doesn't feel good to her. I know that doesn't feel good, you know?
But actually, Sam, let me tell you something that Patrick just mentioned is very relevant for this conversation. Yeah, it is not very real. Yes, but guess what? The human brain doesn't know how to distinguish between reality or fiction when it comes to porn. And I'm going to tell you why. There is, but in biology, there is something known as the Coolidge Effect, right? And the Coolidge Effect is basically this funny story of President Calvin Coolidge at the beginning of the 20th century. He was inaugurating some like farms in the Midwest, right? And in some farm, he went in, it was a chicken farm, right? And he went to inaugurate this huge chicken farm. And then all of a sudden, you know, all the secretaries and the security, and the President Coolidge was with his wife right there. And the wife went to another room and she saw this rooster having sex with 10, 12 hens, right? And then she called the veterinary and said, hey, can you tell me how many times a day this rooster have sex with the hens? And said, I don't know, maybe like 20 times per day. And she started laughing and said, go and tell President Coolidge that I'm sending you, and tell that he has 20 times sex every day. So the veterinary went to the president and said, President, your wife sending me to tell you that the rooster right there has sex with 20 hens every day. And the president answered, yeah, but go and tell my wife that there's always with a different hen. So in biology, every single time a mammal is experienced to, you know, is in front of a female that looks fertile and young, immediately the reward system starts generating dopamine. Okay, so obviously the dopamine starts all the cascade process of many neuropeptides, neurotransmitters, hormones, so we can actually produce the nitric oxide to have this beautiful erection, you know? And then all of a sudden, if you have your reward system atrophy, and then you cannot produce dopamine when you see a naked woman, because you've been opening tab after tab after tab, and you've been like literally inundating your brain with dopamine. Basically what you think you hit the evolutionary jackpot when it comes to passing your genetic information, but in reality, what you are doing is creating a physiological damage. You are appealing to the neuroplasticity of your brain, and you are creating an inverse process that is negative to you. So most of men don't know about this, and they just keep on watching porn, because guess what? Like, all the women on porn are very attractive. All the women on porn do what it says on the script, which is extremely submissive, sometimes derogative, sometimes negative. They see women as objects, so like many other stuff. At the end of the day, this is literally going against your own biology, like there is this famous phrase that goes around the anti-porn communities. I'm not anti-porn, but on these communities that help men to heal from porn addiction, they say a 14-year-old kid today can watch more naked women than his grandfather watching his entire life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I had a boyfriend that I don't think he'd had many lovers when we got together. This was back in college, and he could not perform. And I was like, what's happening? And he's like, well, this isn't like what I thought sex was like. I said, well, what do you think sex is like? And he's like, well, the porn I watch. And I said, oh my God, sex is not anything. It's not supposed to be anything like that. And he couldn't, he had a hard time getting an erection. He had a hard time keeping an erection. He was a terrible lover.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And Sam, like, great that you are bringing that topic, because porn is becoming the global sex education school.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Unfortunately, this school, so-called school, is teaching so many bad stuff,
Such bad. The porn, when I watch porn, like I said earlier, like I just look at the woman and I'm like, most of the action for the women is then the clitoris or how, depending on how you pronounce it. And almost no porn has any clitoral stimulation. So
if it does, they're like slapping it.
Yeah, it's like hard play where you're like, oh my God, that's got to be hurting her. So most of the porn is just it's teaching such bad lover behaviors.
Frat boy sex or something. I don't know what to call it.
I don't even.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just to let you know, like in part of the program that I do, I send, depending on, like, I really have to do an assessment of the man that I have in front of me, right? But I send them in many occasions to actually research about orgasmic meditation. This sexual company created by Nicole Daidon, a sex educator from California. And basically they literally teach you to create a gentle relationship with the clitoris. Like, it's in such a gentle way, such a beautiful company and such a beautiful mission. She has a book that she published a few years ago called Slow Sex, amazing book. And it's completely the opposite of what we see on porn, which is the pounding, the frenetic movements, the insanity, and the insulting, and basically just like nonsense frenetic movements.
Yeah, I wonder if that, it's curious why more women don't get addicted to porn. Because we're also sexual beings, but I think some of it may have to do with the fact that we know our bodies and we're like, that doesn't feel good. Or, you even watch women performing fellatio, giving blowjobs, and they're literally gagging. Like, who's that? How is that fun for her? And then it makes me pissed off. Like, that guy think that's fun. And then all the people that make the porn, I'm like, what is wrong with people? Like, she's going to throw up. That's terrible.
Exactly. Well, you're
that's
making
a whole nother fetish, by the way.
No, but you're making a good point right here. Used to be like 8 to 2, right? Like 10 people like to porn. It was like 8 men, 2 women. Today is something like 7-3. Okay.
Oh, so it's going up.
is going up. It's going up.
Wow.
And I don't know if it will ever go like 50-50. I don't think so. But what I'm telling you is I've worked also with women. I work with women only on special occasions, you know, like, or most of the times I send them to someone to work with. As you both know, my specialty is working with men. But the thing is, right now, I feel that independently of being men or women, the most important part today is to talk about it, you know, and not. And some people was thinking. I was actually getting interviewed by a newspaper in Chile, probably a couple of months ago, and they were like, all the questions were kind of like, you know, with a subtle ingredient of like, hey, why do you have something against porn? And at the end of the day, I don't. Like, I really want to help, because part of my story, and, you know, obviously going to a first question a little bit, is that I've been in the worst possible situation, which I totally lost my erection for 93 days. How do I know it was 93 days? How? Because when you are in that situation, you count the days, you know? And I really had to do a very diligent work with a Tantra teacher, many exercises. I mean, thank God that I found this amazing woman in my path, you know, that she helped me with many exercises. It was very frustrating sometimes, but, you know, I kept on going. And at the end, you know, I was capable of, I mean, I even remember vividly how that day when I recovered my erection, now I'm so grateful for that, you know, miracle of universal engineering that is the possibility of having an erected penis, you know. But we need to open up about these extremely important things, because when even look, not a single man will go through his life without having a moment of like not being able to get it up.
Right.
Even if that woman is understanding, even if she loves you with her life, even with everything, it is a horrible moment, you know. It is a horrible moment.
Well,
and I'm sorry.
No, I'm interrupting you, so I apologize. But we talked about that before when it comes to stress. Stress is a big time
boner killer.
Yeah, big time boner killer. I mean, it's bad in many different ways, but it's definitely bad for that. And you end up creating a vicious cycle, really, because if you're having trouble getting it up, or excuse me, if you're experiencing any kind of erectile dysfunction at all, then you start stressing, oh my God, what's she thinking? And even like you said, even if they're understanding, it still adds to the stress, which only worsens the problem.
Yeah, and then you're in a vicious cycle.
Absolutely, yeah. Not only that, but you know, even the psychological reaction, which is, before I had that situation, what if that happens again? And then you go into the erotic space, all in your head, instead of going, enjoying your body, feeling your sensations, you know, enjoying the woman that you have in front of you. You basically, you go like all like with the alarms on, you know, and then all of a sudden you cannot, if you don't go into relaxation, there is no way that you can have an erection. And coming back to porn, like, a lot of men come to me and they ask me why I don't have the erections like porn. And the number one question that I get asked, why do I have such a small penis? And it's always they comparing themselves with porn. Porn is really messing up the minds of an entire generation in front of our eyes, and we are not seeing that. So this is the real silent pandemic. And I'm using consciously when I talk about porn, the word pandemic, because 42 billion people, 42 billion people, this is not an opinion, this is called data. 42 billion people watched one porn site last year, only one porn site, the most watched porn site. We have 7.7 billion humans on planet Earth. So someone is watching porn, and we are not paying attention to this. And we will see the consequences in 10, 15, 20 years. So this is the moment when we really need to open up about this conversation. That's why I chose this as a life mission.
You, and in fairness to you also, I've heard you use the word pandemic before we had a pandemic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A virus. I mean,
now people understand the word a little better, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we salute you for what you're teaching. So now let's say you realize you have a problem. What kinds of things are you teaching? Can you give us, 2 or 3 things that you can teach men to start them down the road of becoming not addicted to porn anymore?
Absolutely.
Before you go there, though, I had one question that.
No, you can't ask any more questions.
Well, it dovetails it because I want to hear the answer to that, and so please don't forget, and we'll come back to it in a second. But one of my questions still has to do with the actual addiction, and there's certain people. I mean, we all know there's people all over the spectrum on where they are when it comes to sexuality. There's the horny spectrum, whatever you want to call it. Like I have friends that are like horny all the time. They might jerk, when we were young, they would jerk off 3-4 times a day or more even, what I mean? They're constantly thinking about sex, right? Aren't those the type of people that are more and more susceptible to, becoming addicted? Whereas other people, like I had one friend who told me that he never masturbated his whole life because he'd always had long-term girlfriends. But, I'm just curious how the people that you work with are they falling on one end or the other of the spectrum, or are they all over the place?
Literally, I get everything that you can possibly imagine. Some of the stories that I get to hear are really sad. Some of the stories are like really shocking. But at the end of the day, I start seeing patterns. Okay. So one of the things that I realized is that, number one, if you don't address the emotional side, it's very rare that you will bring total healing. So in other words, techniques will not do the trick. You really need to address the emotional side. I get to see some sort of a primal wound, not necessarily related to sexuality, but the addiction is always a escape route, So the addiction is right here, but there is something they're actually running away from this problem that they refuse to see towards the addiction, So the addressing the emotional part, extremely important. And believe me, I get men, just to give you an idea, okay, of clients that I had. A high executive from a Fortune 500 company in Seattle, a busboy from a restaurant in Miami, an entrepreneur from Buenos Aires, Argentina, a college kid from Bogota. So, I'm just every kind of an attorney from New York, a CPA from New York. What else? A painter from Medellin, Colombia.
Do you see the? Is it? Do they start because they want an outlet for their horniness? Do you know what I mean? Are they all? I mean, that's my question. Technically, is like,
do they seem more sexual?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I would say one of the most beautiful things that this addiction brought into my life was having kind of like a general realization about humanity, right? A healthy human being is a very sexual human being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Western culture does everything to shut down that, because, or to steal it, because sexual energy is creative energy. It's extremely powerful, and you actually create your reality with that, you know? So when you actually shut down that, it's easy to manage you. This is not conspiracy thing. This is a reality, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to manage the people, or most likely it's easy to like put a patch, like selling you something, bringing you into my organization, using your energy for my agenda, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The beautiful realization that this addiction, this global pandemic, not the coronavirus, but porn, brought into my life is that we are going so into a dark space in the sexuality of this planet, that finally we're gonna bring light into this. Like we're gonna come to a point that there's no worse moment. We are about to face probably worse moments with all the advances that we are experiencing with virtual reality and augmented reality in regards to porn.
Mm-hmm.
Those two industries are growing massively. Virtual reality is growing massively with porn, and augmented reality, which is the interface between reality and the physical reality and the technological reality, you know. Basically, they are right now doing massive research to put money on that. We're gonna go so bad that our only solution is going to be make sexuality an important topic, release the taboo, because you know sexuality is taboo per excellence in our world. So, and really open up where we actually, as humans, we will take the responsibility of teaching our kids about sexuality, not only about avoiding pregnancy or STDs.
Yep, that's all they teach.
Exactly, but pleasure and, you know, joy and all the things that have been kind of like secret, like how do I manifest a new reality using my sexual energy? How do I heal myself or my partner doing, you know, with sexuality? Or how do I dissolve my personal identity and fusion into one consciousness with my partner using sexuality? So we are right now, I'm very, very optimistic about the future of sexuality, maybe 100 or 200 years down the road. But if my great grandkids can see it, I'll be happy, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep. Us too. We feel the same way. We need to definitely pull the curtain up and teach the right things. And you know, there's something about
I think pull the dress up is a better analogy.
Well, whatever.
Pull the pants down, pull the dress up.
Whoa. But there is something that about connection too, you know, that if you're just watching porn and you don't get to experience that connection. And like you said, you never maybe get to touch that, the oneness of all, which Absolutely. I think is, you know, one of the highest spiritual places you can go.
Would you say that watching porn and becoming in that addiction could take away from, or actually it could almost like suck away your ability to be present with that person in that moment, which is probably where the erectile dysfunction and everything else comes with, because you're trying to think about what you used to watch in order to get excited?
That happens all the time. That happens all the time. The thing is, one of the characteristics that a feminine woman in general, women love about men, is the masculine presence, you know, and just being present right there. Like the only thing that matters is this moment right here, right now, you know, and is not only the ability to acknowledge the other person, but also the capability of seeing the other person, fully seeing that other person. In order to do that, you need to inhabit your penis. First, you inhabit your body. Then you inhabit your penis with your whole presence. But at the same time, this is not something that just needs to happen in the erotic space. This moment, in the erotic moment, will resemble your life, in which way you are going out to the world to penetrate reality, in how you are really being present in your day-by-day life. How are you attending the call of history and standing up at this precise moment to, like, it's exactly the same when you go into the erotic space. It's attending the whole of history and becoming rigid and standing up. Okay, I am here right now. But if you're lacking presence, how are you asking your very wise penis to do something that is completely against of what you've been teaching him? So one of the beautiful things that I do in my coaching sessions is I actually, teach men how to have a more conscious relationship with their penises. And this is something beautiful because we go and we do an exercise of their previous relationship that they've had with their penis, and they start realizing that they've hated their penis a lot. They've resented their penis a lot. They've done so many bad stuff to them. And they think your penis is actually an extension of the male body, And it's funny because if you go into Taoist reflexology, you will see that every single part of your penis is correlated energetically to every single part of the male body. It's amazing. Like if you Google a Taoist reflexology of the penis and you just go to images, it's gonna blow your mind because you'll see that how the tip of the glands is actually connected with the female heart energetically. And like you two are, I really admire the work that you both are doing because you are really saying things as raw as they sound about the life as a couple, right? Yeah. And because we are living right now a moment of history that we cannot keep quiet anymore. Yeah. And even if some stuff might sound a little woo-woo or no, that's not scientifically proven, I don't care. Like now, when I receive a teaching that really resonates with what I'm teaching, I just say it. Like, no, but energetically you cannot prove that, but you can feel it.
You can feel it.
It's really tough to prove scientifically anything when it comes to energy, but when it comes to the woo energy, but you're absolutely right. You can feel it, and it's almost like right here in your heart that it's, well, it may not be true for you, but it's true for me. So I don't really care.
Yeah. Hey, Pat, and by the way, props because you are pointing at your heart, and not many men nowadays feel with their hearts, And so I really appreciate the fact that you are pointing at your heart. A lot of the men that come to me with porn addiction, from a mile away, I can tell that they have a closed heart. Yeah. And believe me, it really takes some work to open up, because you having an open heart, you are exposed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things that
we have to do that. We all have to become more vulnerable so that we can connect with each other, because if we have too many walls, then we can't connect.
Absolutely.
Very well said, honey.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you, baby.
Well, that's okay. All I was going to say is I think, if you'd come to me 10 years ago and started telling me, I need to be more heart-centered and all this other stuff, I don't know how well I would have responded, but one of the things that because everybody kind of has little triggers that when they're like, oh, now I get it, you know, and then like 10 people around and we're like, I've been telling you that for years. But when people start, or I don't remember when it was, but when you correlate your heart to your own intuition, right? Your intuition and things that you just know, they're here. As soon as it gets up into your brain, that's when all the shit starts. It's like your brain will talk you out of anything. It will talk you into anything. It will tell you that your intuition's not real. It will tell you that what you feel in your heart's not real. So Sam even did an experiment where she tried to go an entire month just letting her intuition make decisions for her, because
It's hard.
It is hard, but
It's hard. Yeah.
Anyway, I liked that correlation of intuition and the heart.
Absolutely.
So if somebody's having trouble thinking it's too woo, just call it intuition. It's the same thing.
Well, and I appreciate you saying that, Gonzalo, like that, you know, because I get hung up sometimes about, I want it to be scientifically proven when I say something because I really love the science, but I appreciate that you're doing that. And I will definitely, I do it. Because I love the woo. I'm very spiritual, and my spiritual practice is probably one of the most important things to me, but I have a hard time talking about it because it's not scientifically proven. People don't relate to it, but I'm glad you said that, and I'm going to try to do that more. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the inspiration.
You gave her a trigger.
Okay, we got to go back though to my question about someone knows that they're addicted to porn. How can they start to help themselves?
So there are 4 activities. These 4 activities are free, and they can start with these, but this goes with something extremely important. And so I'm going to tell you about the 4 activities and the X factor. Okay.
Okay.
So number 1, changing the nutrition. Okay. Like today, it's being already demonstrated that the largest majority of emotions that we experience, they come from the second brain, the gut. And if we keep poisoning our gut, our second brain, the emotions that we will experience can become triggers. So that would be number 1. Number 2.
Nutritionally, what does that entail?
Instead of creating an acidic body, start creating an alkaline body. It's as simple as that. You just Google how to create an alkaline body or what is an alkaline body, and then you start, because really we need to like make peace. There is, I mean, obviously I'm giving you just the headlines.
Yeah, of course.
But the thing is, nowadays there is so much emotional attachment to food.
Yeah.
A lot. And we cover up so many emotions, and most of the like root causes of the addictions are emotional. So instead of like covering, start being a little conscious, and step by step, little steps every day that you can incrementally. So that's why I never like throw things on the people that I work with. It's little by little, with love, with compassion, hey, dude, let's relax. This is not like something that is going to overwhelm you. So nutrition is one thing. The other thing is you need to relax your nervous system. So meditation. Like I tell the men that I work with, dude, if you're not going to meditate, I don't want to take your money. I swear. Like I don't.
Yay! Go Gonzalo!
Exactly. Meditation is meditation, like Ray Dalio meditates, Oprah meditates, Paul McCartney meditates, like the Richard Branson meditates. Like all the people that are generating amazing results today, they are meditators, and this is being a beautiful spiritual practice that comes from the beginning of time. So meditation will allow you to remember who you really are, because most of men that come to me, they have a very messed up identity. They think there's something profoundly wrong with themselves. So meditation, non-negotiable. Number 3, breathing. Some of the men that comes to me, I've had a couple of cases that they got offended that, what do you mean I don't know how to breathe? Dude, I really had to learn when I was like 33 to breathe, because I had this shallow breathing, you know, the Western shallow breathing that is fast. And we don't understand that every single emotion that we experience as humans is actually linked to a breathing pattern. And we can actually use our body as a tool if we know how to breathe, and we will teach and actually create new neuronal connections so our body knows how to go into better emotions that will not trigger ourselves into acting out on the addiction. So breathing is mandatory, and it's very simple. Just sit there and breathe deeply, allowing, you know, like engaging your pelvic floor, allowing the diaphragm to extend, you know, really like babies do. You know, you see the belly moving. We are so afraid of seeing other people that we have a belly that we're, you know, all the time, oh, we're talking like this and we're putting the belly in. No, you know, like if you don't want a belly, get rid of the belly. But if you do have a belly, show it, you know, that's it. Don't be in between. So number 3 will be breathing. Number 4, exercises. And this is also a non-negotiable, because as Peter Levine explains on his book, Waking the Tiger, trauma is physiological. Mm-hmm. Okay? So trauma stays in your body. And if you've been training your body to experience sexual energy in a way, you need to disrupt that energetic pattern of sexual energy from your body. And how do you do it? Do that with movement, exercising and moving and creating something completely new. And your body is going to start like creating a new body, literally. So, and also, you know, like if you Google benefits of exercising, I mean, you probably get like 2 billion results with all the benefits that you get.
Same with all the things that you're saying, right? Like exactly. Meditation, and nutrition.
Every single thing out of the 4 things, nutrition, meditation, breathing, and exercising, they're free and they are very easy to do. But where's the catch? The same amount of easiness to do them is the same amount of difficulty to do them, you know? so, you know, like if you've been, the human body is not designed for create a thriving life for you. Your body wants you to survive. So your body will go into habit, because if the body repeats itself every single day, the body will not die. So obviously it's an exercise of the consciousness, including new activities in your life. And you really need to like push against who you think you are in order to put these 4 activities in your life. As simple as that. So those are the 4 activities. But now the X factor, drumming. The X factor, the support group.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a single man healing by himself. I've seen a lot of men promising themselves, this is the last time I watch porn and masturbate, and the next day they do it again. But the support group is extremely important, because as humans, what we want is connection. We crave connection. You know, deep in our souls, we know that I am you and you are I, and we are one, you know, and the unity is a reality, and we are living all this Maya matrix, however you want to call it, right? But we are on planet Earth. We chose to be here, and we need to play this game for now, you know, and let's play it in a very good way, you know, and let's connect, because if I heal, the other person is also healing. There are many SAA, Sex Addicts Anonymous, many support groups, online groups, online forums, like groups in your church, groups in your YMCA, in your like everything. If you go to the internet, you'll find a group, you know? So
Do you
having a,
do you facilitate any of those groups, Gonzalo?
yes. I get invited to many places to create groups. And also I have an online group in Spanish so far. It's called Hombres Venciendo la Adicción al Porno, Men Overcoming Porn Addiction. It's a Facebook private group. And I will create one in English. But the most important part, oh, by the way, you know, obviously my group in English is gonna go pair with my book
with
in
the
English,
release of your book, yeah.
which is coming this Thursday. So I'm very excited.
What's the date? Tell us the date, because we're not sure when this will be released.
So this 30th. Is
the 30th.
The 30th, July 30th, 2020. I'm so excited about that.
We're excited for you too.
So Conquering Porn Addiction, available on Amazon. Yeah, and this is the support group will allow you to not only have the spiritual and emotional understanding, but also the accountability.
Yeah,
you know?
Accountability is something Patty and I
it's extremely important. The support group is kind of like the foundational stone, and those 4 activities on top of the support group.
Cool.
Awesome. So tell us about your website. You have a website?
Yeah, tell us. This is like your shameless plug moment.
So absolutely.
Tell us everywhere they can find you. How can people work with you? Are you on the web? Are you on Facebook?
They can actually go to my website, gonzalosalinas.net. It's GONZALOSALINAS.net. Right now it's up, but they're gonna be redoing it within the next 15 or 20 days. So it's going to be probably on hold for like 20 or 30 days.
Okay.
But right now it's up. So, but Instagram, Gonzalo Salinas 80. That's where they can find me.
Okay.
I work, as a men's coach. I work, as I give talks. And, by the way, I have a couple of podcasts. I have a podcast in Spanish called Masculinidad Consciente, Conscious Masculinity. And I have a podcast in English. I've had the honor of having both of you.
Thank you for having us. We had a great conversation.
Absolutely. It's called Conversations About Men. And basically what I do is I define myself as a fellow traveler of men, Mm-hmm. When a man have a problem that they cannot solve themselves in regards to masculinity, male sexuality, or addiction to pornography, I am there. And, I don't work with everybody, I only work with men that are committed, because it is sad to say, but it's a reality. Some men are not willing to give me their 100% commitment, and I cannot work with them. But if they are willing to commit 100% to that, we can actually move forward.
Great.
Cool.
Gonzalo, thank you so much for being on our podcast. It's been an honor and a great conversation.
Tons of great value. Lots of good stuff in there. We really appreciate it.
And we're honored to know you, and we're really proud of the things that you're putting out in the world. So, yay!
Thank you so much, guys. And I have to tell you, I really admire the work that you both are doing, and especially there's no school of how to have a better couple life. And what you are doing is just really, really amazing. So it's a true honor to be connected with you. And I really look forward to have dinner with you guys, either in Miami, in somewhere over the rainbow. I don't know. But you get the point.
We got to do it. We got to do it.
You have to take a trip out to our neck of the woods someday, maybe.
Mention your book again, too.
It's Conquering Porn Addiction, available on Amazon. And I'm very excited to be of help.
Starting Thursday. And the way this works, Yeah, when we release this, it'll already be out. But we'll release this Monday.
I don't know.
I think we might release this on Monday.
Mhm.
If we do, then the way the Amazon bestseller algorithm has worked in the past is you get certain credit for how many books are bought in the first couple of weeks that the book's been launched, and then the reviews that happen afterwards. So anybody listening to this podcast, if it's within 2 weeks of the 30th, the sooner you get the book and then subsequently leave a review,
That will help him out.
that'll help Gonzalo out immensely.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And
Thank
now
you
you're
so much.
working on a new book, right?
Oh, yeah. I actually came to Martha's Vineyard. I'm in Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts right now, exclusively to work on my second book. It's called Masculinidad Consciente. I'm writing that in Spanish, Conscious Masculinity. And I'm very excited. You know, I'm actually writing a trilogy. So the first one is Conquering Porn Addiction. The second one is Conscious Masculinity. And the third one will be a book about male sexuality.
Fantastic.
The trilogy of men.
Go, Gonzalo, go. Till next time.
Thanks again, man.